Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Q&A Day. Q&A Day is the day that people write in their questions, send them to Miss Mara at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. And we try our best to answer them. And yeah, if you're listening from Rich Roll, we got a lot of people that came over from the Rich Roll podcast I did, and also from Tinfoil Hat podcast. Yeah. So welcome to the show, everybody. This is our daily study of yoga. If you hear about yoga, sometimes you just think it's up and down and breathe and jump back, jump forward. There's other facets of yoga. We talk about yoga philosophy, how to connect the soul. That's the self. It's a mysterious thing, the soul. It's not so mysterious. Whatever keeps this machine ticking, that energy they call the soul. It's unchangeable, it's immutable, it's eternal. And it doesn't die, they say, when the body dies. Matter of fact, I don't know if you saw that thing I sent you, Kastuba.
I saw it, but I haven't watched it yet.
It's on the Washington Post. It's from the Washington Post.
What?
About children remembering past lives.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah. Children remembering past lives is there.
Yeah, it always fascinates you.
Well, it's like when it comes out to in the Washington Post, it's fascinating. You know, and all my crazy websites and that I go to, it's not so fascinating. But it comes to the Washington Post, you're like, okay, this looks like it's real.
All right.
Anyway,
some good stories there.
Yeah, well, if you just scroll through the comments, because a lot of people are like, this is a lot of nonsense, and then other people are like, my daughter said all this. My daughter, when she was 2.5, started saying all this stuff about how she was my mother, and It was yesterday that we were talking about Brian Cox and his interview on the Joe Rogan show, and yeah,
how here's an important point. He came out and said, they talked about the soul, and Joe Rogan said, many people believe that within the body, in the engagement of the body, there's this divine energy, conscious energy, and then Brian Cox came forward and said, I can tell you for damn sure that it's physical, right? It's a purely physical phenomenon.
I can tell you for damn sure.
You sure? And then he began to back off a little bit. He couldn't. Then he said, "Well, it would have to be very, very subtle." Like,
yes, exactly.
And we're like, yeah, exactly. But here's the point: if you're a scientist, if you're a researcher, and you approach your research with that kind of conviction already, I can tell you for damn sure. Then how is that going to affect your research? Sure. What will you filter out? What evidence will you filter out? Because you've conditioned yourself to
think that there can't be.
That it can't be true. Yeah. So you begin to throw out evidence that you would otherwise accept, and they call that a knowledge filter.
Knowledge filter.
And it's and that's subtle. That affects us more than we think. And because you're a scientist and you have a PhD and you've got funding, it doesn't mean that you're immune to that. All right.
It is subtle, and it's I like to keep it very simple. Whatever animates matter, and then we see that also in animals and trees and plants, and they say right down to the earth itself. So
Saying
It
that
doesn't
there's
have to
another
be
type of
some.
energy
You know, it was weird because it wasn't explained well when I grew up in a Catholic family. It's just like you have a soul. So they make it seem like it's sort of Casper the Friendly Ghost or something, where it's like this. It looks just like you, but it's inside you, and then it comes out of you. Anytime it was, they made it into a television show or something that had a soul or a movie. It was like this ghost-like thing that floats away. Actually, the ghost or the subtle body isn't even the soul. It animates the subtle body as well. It animates the mind and the ego and the intelligence.
Mm.
So that thing that sort of
You know,
floats away isn't you
oh,
either. It's
did you
so
watch?
subtle.
Did you end up watching that clip? Because starts to talk about ghosts,
Oh,
Brian Cox.
Oh no, I didn't watch
He
it.
gives a very weak argument about. I mean, honestly, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but he says, well, people want to believe in ghosts, and then the ghost, it looks like them, right? Well, no, not necessarily. And then, but he used that to show. So that means that there's a connection between matter and this, and he just gave a. It didn't even make sense what he said, and that's my point. Here's a guy that's obviously he's got a high IQ, right? And seems like a nice enough guy and all that. But if you got these convictions already, you can end up putting out weak arguments, or it can end up affecting your research. They put this article in the Washington Post. I'm not saying whether I can't say how well researched it was, what kind of rigor they put those testimonies through. But some people may have a knee-jerk reaction. This is nonsense. Well, hold it. You take a guy, what's the guy's name? Ian Stevenson, who did so much research and gave so much detail. Well, is it still all just, when you do hundreds and hundreds of interviews and you put it through the kind of rigor that's necessary for a true researcher to do, and in the end, there's no answer except, well, it seems to be supernatural. Well, no, it can't be that, and you throw it out.
There is nothing supernatural. We should be able to figure out everything.
Right.
No.
That assumption can't be proven empirically. Right.
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
The dog can hear things I can't hear. Does that mean those
Speaking
sounds
of
don't
dogs,
exist?
that's a segue into our first question.
Our dog question?
Yeah, we got a dog question today.
The question that has no answer. Okay.
Is that how you see it?
That's how I saw that
Kind
question.
of, yeah.
But let's go. Any quick announcements, Miss Mara?
Yeah, we have Bhakti Recovery Group meetings at 9:30, 11, and 12:30 Eastern Time. And there's no show tomorrow, but we'll be back on at 7 a.m. next week.
Yeah.
7 a.m.
7 a.m. We have a save a weekend at the farm next week. It's gonna be fun.
Oh, save a weekend.
Yeah, it's fun. We have a pre-save a weekend going with me and Brian and Lori and Tristan this weekend. They're the chief. Lori and the chief are here.
What is pre-saver? There's no saver this weekend. Just enjoyment.
No, it's pre-saver. It's extra saver.
Okay.
Saver to get ready for the saver. Are you kidding? Yeah, that's the latest.
Okay.
And people are signing up for India. It's happening already. Even Lori and the chief are coming.
Go to wisdomthesages.com/events.
Yeah, actually, is it on Wisdom of the Sages? It's on Raghunath.yoga for sure.
We got to get up on Wisdom of the Sages.
Yeah. Who's in charge of that? All right. So let's dive right into this question.
All right. Who's it from?
This is from, it's Karen Franchi from Miami.
Part of the Miami crew, apparently.
With a whole pack of people from Miami asking this question, perhaps. She's a long-time other and Zoomer.
By the way, I was asked to give a little presentation to like an ISKCON gathering last weekend.
Yeah.
Online. I spoke about Wisdom of Sages for 15 minutes, and they took some questions. And
where were they from?
They were all over the country, all in North America.
Okay.
And someone from Philadelphia said there's 15 people that are Wisdom of the Sages listeners that like through Wisdom of the Sages they got introduced to Bhakti, and they all spent a lot of time at the Philadelphia temple.
Well, all right.
Yeah, what a nice crew over there. We got to go and visit.
Shout out to our Philly crew. Let's go to Philly.
Yeah, Philly crew. So there's a Miami crew apparently too.
There's a Miami crew. There's a Philly crew. There's crews around. I met the San Francisco crew. We got a San Francisco question today. There's a San Francisco crew.
We got to go meet the LA crew.
The LA crew at LA Rath Yatra. And we're going to be there. Okay, let's get into this, okay? This is from Karen Franchi. Here's what she says and her crew. A very heartfelt and enormous thank you to each of you, dear souls. My
Thank
family
you.
and I greatly appreciate your ongoing service of the production of the podcast. I was introduced to Bhakti as a teenager. I didn't know that. Have been a lifelong yogi. Wisdom of the Sages came into my life a few years ago. It has immensely helped me get back to the reading daily. You know, I tell you, without
Very
the
important.
constant association, it's hard to read daily. You could just say, like, I sort of believe this stuff.
You get lazy.
We get lazy, we get distracted by so many
Distracted.
other very interesting things, right?
Yeah.
Wisdom of the Sage. Okay.
More
Visiting
important
temples,
things, urgent things.
urgent but not important. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it helped me immensely get back into reading, visiting temples, chanting daily, and sharing with my children, friends, and family. I feel, as many people these days, a strong conviction that I am walking daily through the illusion of Maya. Yeah.
Starting to get it. Right?
Yeah.
Starting to get it.
It's like, oh, I get it. This is a lie too. Oh, this is an illusion too. And that Krishna and I are navigating the simulation together like
And
like a
next level.
two-player video game.
That's the next level of understanding, right? The first one is this world is an illusory virtual reality test.
Yeah,
And the
like
second one is Krishna's behind it all and he's in my heart and I'm going through it with him. That's like, that's
yeah.
great.
Like when you get to, when you're walking in a mall or downtown, you're like, oh, this is Maya, this is Maya, this is Maya. Meaning, this used to attract me, but
Yeah.
now I know there's no big payoff here, and this
Right.
used to attract me. And there's no payoff there.
And that's,
There's
and
a
again, that's
measly payoff. a
that's
measly payoff.
level one Vedanta, but level two, she's talking about where it's like, oh, but there's a person behind all the illusion. He's with me all the time. Krishna calls that the confidential knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's getting it.
Yeah.
All right.
We have a beautiful, sweet golden retriever. Ooh,
Hold it. I have a
golden-
question about my family dog, she said.
Oh, I have a question about my family dog. We have a beautiful, sweet golden retriever.
Those
His name
golden
is-
retrievers are beautiful dogs, aren't they?
They are
Look at Mara.
beautiful.
Mara's like, oh, yeah.
They shed. They shed.
Do they?
Yeah, they shed. I'm looking into golden doodles, but I'm getting like thwarted by the kids.
Rescue, 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 Raghunath, all right? Whatever dog needs your help the most, you take that dog.
Well, I already have a dog, so maybe you should rescue. How about that?
I'm not looking for a dog.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Rescue them. They need
I'll
you.
rescue
You
it
may
and bring
not
it to
need
your
them, but
house.
They need you, and then you'll get a bumper sticker that says, "Who saved who?"
Oh, that's sweet.
Right?
Maybe
Is
I'll
that what that
rescue
bumper
one.
sticker says, "Who saved who?"
Maybe I'll rescue it and bring it to you, Raghunath.
I think you need one of those service dogs, personally.
You think I'm blind?
No, they give all types of service.
Oh, like a
Therapy dogs,
emotional
therapy
therapy
dogs.
dog. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it would soften you.
You said that, Raghunath. You said that before.
All right, let's go on, Baba.
All right, come on.
Stop squirreling me this. He has been a witness to all. He has been a great friend and a devoted member of our family. He has moved to other countries with us. He has been a witness to all the ongoing events in our lives.
Mm.
He is our little love sponge. We are very
Okay, it's good.
attached to him. She's a dog person, we can tell.
Yeah.
He's recently become very ill. We have tried all the modern medicine options.
You knew this was
Now-
coming, right?
Yeah, I know. Now he is solely with a holistic naturopathic doctor. People have been asking me people have been asking me if I'm going to put him put him
him down.
down. It's such a horrible way to put it too.
What would
But
you
that's
say?
what.
Release him.
Anyway, let's just go on.
Okay.
Because he has lost his ability to see and he is slowing down. I feel I'm just happy each morning that he wakes up.
Yeah.
He still has a very strong appetite and is excited when people come over, or he will hurry to the kitchen when we are cooking. I'm struggling with the painful attachment. We are sitting and chanting with him regularly. What a fortunate dog.
Mhm.
As we are going through this process together, we are all turning our focus to Krishna. I find it painful to realize we are not our bodies. As I realize my time with my dear, innocent little friend is coming to an end soon. Here's my question. How do I find a Krishna conscious way to prepare my family pet and the environment for his death? How do I know when it's the right time for euthanasia? Or do I allow him to fade out naturally? If any of you haven't had an experience with this, I would love to hear more about it. Thank you for your service from our whole family. Oh, thank you, Karen Franchi.
Well, you got experience, right? You got animals dying over there all the time on the farm.
What do you think? I'm just like torturing animals here?
Not torturing them, but when you got a lot of animals, they die eventually. They live shorter
Yeah.
lives than
Yeah.
us in most cases.
Some do. Tortoises live longer.
That's it. Tortoises.
I don't
and
have any tortoises though.
Maybe I gotta get one.
It's truthfully, it's one of these things, especially with humans. It's like, I don't even know if I want, like, maybe I sort of want to be put down sometimes. Well, no, I say that because it's like sometimes we've created so many ways to artificially keep the soul in the body when it should have died years ago. You know what I mean? We're trying to keep
Oh,
it
that
going.
yeah, you just
And in
burn
that
out all
sense,
the
it's like
family savings and
it burns out through all the family savings, and you're not even with the person anymore. They're just bedridden, or they should have
yeah,
been dead. So
yeah.
part of me feels like, do I really want to exist in such a state where my heart is beating, but I'm going?
Are
I
you
like
giving me are you giving me the pull the plug permission right now, Raghunath?
I'm giving you the pull the plug permission, but make sure I'm gonna die. Don't just pull it while I'm like, before you pull that plug, make sure there's no way of me getting any better. Don't be like, oh, he broke his finger. Pull the plug.
Then we
What are you
take you
talking
to your, or maybe you're not fully dead, and we take you to the funeral pyre, and you're like, hey,
I'm
whoa.
still alive. Happens. Anyway, I like what she's getting into. How do we make this a more Krishna conscious home for the dog? It sounds like they are. They're singing to the dog. You
Yeah.
can feed the dog some prasad. And if you say, well, my dog doesn't eat vegetarian food, put
A
some
little bit.
peanut butter on it. He'll eat it.
Okay, offer some peanut butter.
My dog would eat my shoe if I put peanut butter on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a special time. And I think the ideal thing is the dog dies naturally, but I have to think about that myself. And I was just churning it over. Mara was trying to talk to me yesterday about something important. I was just thinking about, what am I going to do with Gus? I was like in my own world. And she's
Because
like,
you have
"Are
a dog that's
listening?"
getting very old.
My dog's getting very old, and even to quote, put it down, it's like heartbreaking. Is that like a better thing for it? But my dog too, the joints go really bad. He can't barely get up on the couch anymore, and he's just like, he can't go for a walk anymore, and it's a little sad. So
Gus.
I like the idea of a very Krishna conscious environment. Who knows? This could be the last birth of this dog with a devotee family.
It's an interesting idea,
They're
right?
not ordinary. They're not ordinary.
Yeah. I was gonna. I think I'm there with you. We get a lot. Actually, we get a lot of these questions. We don't know. I think once or twice we've taken them before, because we don't want to be the person that's going to say, how do I know when it's the time to put it down? I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing to do or not. And sometimes Shastra, like the sacred text,
Yeah.
they don't always operate like a manual, in the sense that they provide explicit step-by-step instructions about what to do in any given situation, right? More commonly, they'll give instructions in terms of principles and values. And so I think the principle here is compassion, right? Am I doing it because I just don't feel like taking care of the animal? Am I doing it because the animal is suffering so intensely that it would be better off, if it were to leave, right away or sooner?
Yeah.
That's something I think you have to read these texts and try to embody them as much as possible, and then really think about and pray about, and you make that decision yourself. But as you said, Raghunath, I think you're doing a great service here for the dog, in terms of the atmosphere. And of course, when we think of dogs and devotees, who do we always think of?
Dogs and devotees, dogs and devotees, dogs and devotees. Oh, Lord Chaitanya and the dog?
Yeah, well, but who's the devotee? Shivananda Saint.
Shivananda Saint, yeah.
In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, this most important,
Good story.
It's like such an important, deep philosophical text, right? It's kind of like it's practically serves as like the most important text in our lineage, like to go to both.
The dog story.
And within that very important text, it puts this story about this devotee and this dog. And there was a devotee named Shivananda Sena who lived in Bengal, where where Lord Chaitanya was from, and where all his followers, most of his followers originally were from. And they used to make a a yearly pilgrimage to Jagannath Puri, which means you have to walk
You got to walk.
for like weeks.
It's like
I
a
think.
pilgrimage. Me walking from upstate New York to like maybe Virginia or something
DC
like
or
that.
something. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's yeah. And so yeah, you'd have to walk for weeks, I think, to get there. And there was one devotee, and this is a special thing when devotees do this. Some devotees embrace this, like my friend Tara in Mayapur,
Mm.
right? Like he lives in that beautiful little devotional neighborhood, and people come to him all the time just with practical life considerations. You know, I'm leaving my apartment and I need to rent it out. I don't know what to do, or I have this issue or that issue. Can you help me? He's always just serving them, trying to help them. You know, and that's some devotees really
Some
embrace
devotees
that,
take that fatherly. Sachi
and it's a
Caesar's like that so much. They just want to take care of
yeah,
people. And
and
Shivananda saying he would take care of all the pilgrimages, arrange where they stay, arrange their prasad. He just
yeah.
like was very
You're on the road
fatherly to
for
everyone.
walking with a group of hundreds of people. There's so many practical considerations that need to be cared for, and he just said, "I'm going to own that." And that's a real special way to practice bhakti. That's a real way to get into the heart of Krishna by serving Krishna's devotees. So in that mood, he's taken this group of hundreds of people, and they found that this one dog, stray dog, just started following them along, and it was following them every day. And Shivananda Sain began to think, well, I guess I have to take care of the dog too.
I'm responsible now.
I got to make sure it has food. I have to make sure, you know, it has a decent place to sleep. And he owned that responsibility. One day the dog wasn't around, and you know, he would
Oh, they're crossing a river, and the
oh,
boatman's
that
like, "No, you
happened
can't bring
first,
a
yeah.
dog. You can't bring a dog on the boat."
So
He was
the
like,
boatman said no dogs allowed.
He's like, "I'm paying for the dog. I'll
I'll
pay
pay
for
for
the
the
dog to
Okay,
get on the boat."
dog allowed.
So I was like, "All right."
Yeah, because you had to pay a toll for all the people, and they said, "Well, I'll pay a toll for the dog." Okay, take the dog. So he really cared for it, and one day he looked around, the dog wasn't there, and he was kind of upset with everyone because nobody else seemed to be as focused, I suppose, right? I think he was a little bit like, "Come on, everybody, we gotta." So he searched and searched. He sent everybody searching. Nobody was able to find that dog, and
He was broken. He was broken.
yeah, he was really broken. And when they got to where they were going to Jagannath Puri, and they came into the presence of Sri Chaitanya, there was the dog. Right? And the
With
dog
Lord
was,
Chaitanya,
and I think the dog, and Lord Chaitanya was feeding it.
throwing him chapatis.
No, coconut
Yeah.
pulp.
Oh, really? It was
Yeah.
chapatis. Maybe I was putting myself in that picture. Like, I would love a
Was there
chapati
peanut
thrown
butter on that chapati?
at me. I think there was a little peanut butter on it.
Okay. And the dog was chanting, "Krishna, Krishna."
Every time I ate the food, he'd go, "Krishna, Krishna."
Yeah. So
Which dogs sort of make that sound.
they can do that. Dogs can kind of talk
They
sometimes.
do.
Yeah. And so and then it died and it went back to the spiritual world, that dog.
Lord Chaitanya said it went back.
Now there's a commentary in the telling of that story that I thought I'd read to you, Raghunath. Okay.
Oh, good. That's great. I want to hear that this morning.
So this was the part where they started looking for the dog. It was missing. It said, in the morning they looked for the dog, but it could not be found anywhere. All the Vaishnavas were astonished. I think they're especially astonished with the level of Shivananda Sain's concern.
Yeah. Yeah.
And okay, so here's Prabhupada's commentary on this. He says, Shivananda Sena's attachment to the dog was a great boon for that animal. The dog appeared to have been a street dog. Since it naturally began to follow Shivananda Sen while he was going to Jagannath Puri with his party, he accepted it into his party and maintained it in the same way he was maintaining the other devotees. It appears that although on one occasion the dog was not allowed to board a boat, Shivananda Sen did not leave the dog behind, but paid more money just to induce the boatman to take the dog across the river. Then, when the servant forgot to feed the dog and the dog disappeared, Shivananda Sen became very anxious and sent 10 men to find it. Okay, you go that way, we got to find this
We
dog.
gotta find this dog. Yeah,
Thus-
believe me, I've been on those searches. Before.
Okay.
Find that dog.
On those
Who let the
missions.
dog out?
So thus it appears that somehow or other Shivananda Sen had become attached to the dog. Here we have a devotee of Sri Chaitanya on an extremely high level of perfection. He was
Yeah.
not just an ordinary devotee. He was a personal associate of Sri Chaitanya, highest level devotee. He had become, Prabhupada uses the word, attached to the dog. He really cared for it. He really had compassion for it. He really had love for it. As will be evident from the following verses, the dog got the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and was immediately promoted to Vaikuntha and became an eternal devotee. So in that life, in that dog body, it, that was its last birth in the material world. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has therefore sung, Tumi ta Thakura tomara kukura baliya janaha more, which he says he thus offers, this was his prayer, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's prayer. He thus offers to become a dog of the Vaishnava, right? Let me become the dog of the Vaishnava in my next birth. He's praying like that. There are many other instances in which a pet animal of a Vaishnava was delivered back home to Vaikuntha Loka, back to Godhead. There's many instances of this. Interesting. Such is the benefit of somehow or other becoming a favorite of a Vaishnava. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has also sung, Kita janma hai u yata tuya dasa. There is no harm in taking birth again and again. Our only desire should be to take birth under the care of a Vaishnava. Fortunately, we had Prabhupada says, fortunately, we had the opportunity to be born of a Vaishnava father who took care of us very nicely. He prayed to Srimati Radharani that in the future we would become a servant of the eternal consort of Sri Krishna. Thus, somehow or other, we are now engaged in that service. We may conclude that even as dogs, we must take the shelter of a Vaishnava. The benefit will be the same as that which accrues to an advanced devotee under a Vaishnava's care. Wow. So it sounds like Karen is doing a great job. Keep up the kirtan, read Bhagavatam to your dog, give it some prasad, and especially when it's passing away, if you can play some kirtan, that'd be great for it.
Maybe teach it how to play cartels.
I've seen Gus respond to your morning puja. He just seems to like to come over and plop himself down.
He was there today too.
Yeah.
Plopped himself down during puja.
He hears the mantras and the prayers and seems to appreciate the darshan and he knows something healthy and spiritual and wonderful is going on, beautiful is going on there, I think.
Someone just wrote this good thing. Oh, Mike Mayer said, our dog Kai passed away last year listening to Prabhupada chanting and wearing Tulsi beads.
Nice.
That is nice.
I don't know if we put Tulsi beads on the dog, but you know what?
Well, I would.
I don't know if that's our...
Don't see with material vision. It's a spirit soul.
When it dies, I would definitely do it. I don't know if, like, normally while it's living, if it's
I just don't
slobbering all over them.
I don't think he was wearing them his whole life, the dog.
Yeah,
like
just
dog
at the
collar.
end. Okay.
Yeah. I buried my cat, my old cat Yashoda, with Tulsi beads.
Maybe just put a couple beads on the dog collar.
Maybe Kostuba.
No. You pray internally and see what you come up with.
Okay. All right, that was a good question.
Hope that was helpful.
Yeah, everyone's got a dog. There's a whole devotee anti-dog thing. It's so horrible. Very pro-dog. I'm very pro-dog, even though I'm a cat person. What? Why are you looking at me? You don't think I'm a pro-dog person?
You said yourself you're not
I'm a cat
dog
person. I'm a cat person. Well, Kim got bit by a dog the other day. Kim Chipola from Rhode Island. Our love goes out to you. She's a regular Zoomer.
All right. Sometimes even a good dog, if it's been mistreated or something, it'll respond that way.
Yeah, I think it was a little feral. Anyway, that's why I'm a cat person.
Okay, next question.
All righty. Next is from
Victoria Johnny.
Victoria Johnny.
I remember Victoria from the Bhakti Center. Now she's out in San Francisco.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. It was great to meet you in San Francisco, Raghunath Prabhu. I have practical
Was that
chanting question.
Would that have been at the Castro room, Comrade Raghunath?
Yeah, or Bhakti SF. I can't remember.
Okay.
I have a practical chanting question. Chanting and breathing properly is hard for me. An initiated devotee.
Chanting and breathing. Somehow chanting japa, going along, you're doing your 100
people like to breathe through their nose. And it's hard if you're doing 2 hours of chanting, you're doing 2 hours of potentially breathing through your mouth, which can be a problem. I've run into that same problem myself.
Getting the rhythm. People may have a trouble.
No, it's just like you just do everything through the mouth. And that's 2 hours that you're committing to poor breathing in one sense.
Okay.
So she's saying I have a practical chanting question. An initiated devotee who's also an advanced devotee in yoga asana and pranayama instructor once told me his method, but I'm not sure if it's bona fide. So I want to check with you.
Let's check out this
Because I'm the
method.
gold standard of bona fide devotional activities. Thank you. He recommended chanting one mantra in the mind while breathing in, and then chanting 3 mantras out loud while exhaling. I do this all the time.
Really?
I do this one all the time. Yeah, because I like breathing through the nose.
That exact
Breathing through the
method?
mouth on your exhale is not so bad, but breathing in through the nose is important. So I do that all the time, inhaling through the mind. Yeah. The one
Say it
chanted in
again.
the
Say this
mind,
method again.
you're inhaling the Maha Mantra as you're inhaling through the nose.
So you're saying it silently.
You're saying silently in your mind.
Okay. And then you chant
A
it out
long
loud on the
exhale-
exhale
a
for
long
3?
exhale you're
for
chanting out.
3 mantras.
2 or 3, yeah. I love this
That's-
personally because I can concentrate on the mantra better. If I wait to breathe in before chanting another mantra, the flow of chanting becomes disturbed.
Okay.
Okay. I know we place significant importance on actually saying the mantra out loud, which is why I wanted to confirm this. Is this a legitimate way to chant? Thank you so much, your aspiring servant, Victoria Johnny. I think more important than saying out loud is just hearing it. And you can hear, obviously, we hear thoughts in the mind all day long. Our thoughts in our mind, we hear on a regular basis. I hear voices.
So even a deaf person can hear the holy name.
Sure. Sure. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
so I vote bona fide. Ding.
All right.
If you're one of these people that care about breathing through your nose, or you want to try, and sometimes we like to play around with our japa too. Sometimes we'd like to chant it loud. Sometimes like we chant it through the mouth. Sometimes we chant it very softly. Mara chants really soft.
Soft chanter.
Yeah. You just have to know what works for you. Sometimes if I just chant in my mind, I'll become distracted by my mind. So sometimes a little bit audible is helpful for me. But I do like this method she's talking about.
Yeah, well, in general, Srila Prabhupada instructed us to chant aloud and hear the name, right? In one sense, it's as simple as that. But we do hear from other texts that chanting can be silent within the mind, right? Like you'll find that in Harinam Chintamani, that's that method spoken of. But Prabhupada, you know, one thing that I found important here, and there's a similarity in this question and the last question, right? I don't have a text that I'm going to open up like a manual and tell you that, you know what, inhale and silently chant for 1 mantra and exhale for 3 mantras is not bona fide, but we do have exhale for 2 mantras here. You know, it's like, yeah. I don't have anything specific to offer you. I have general things to offer you. And it's the principles that become important. She said here, she said, I know that when we place, she said, I know we place significant importance on actually saying the mantra out loud. Why? Why do we place significant importance on that? So that we can better bring the mind to the mantra. That's the reason. And so when she wrote about this method, she says, I love this personally. Why? Because I can concentrate on the mantra better. Okay, that's the principle, is it not? Yeah. So that we want to concentrate it. We want to bring the mind and absorb it in that name better. And so that's the principle. Whatever serves that principle is what we're trying to do. So like we'll find, you know, in general, we want to sit when we chant, right? Like it's if you go to all kinds of yogic texts, they're going to tell you sit with your spine up straight, you know, it's a sattvic way to sit. It's the way that the energies flow through the body. It's better for being alert and concentrated. But some people have trouble doing that. It's so painful for me to do that. It's so uncomfortable for me to sit that way that actually it draws my mind away from the mantra and into this suffering in my body. All right, then adjust. Right, then we adjust it because the principle, we want to serve the principle. The principle is how to get my mind more into it. So it sounds to me like Victoria is practicing something that's helping her keep her mind concentrated on the mantra. Then we accept it. This Rupa Goswami says, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Yena Tena Prakarena Mana Krishna Niveshayat, that somehow or other, bring your mind to Krishna, accept whatever's favorable. If there's something that's making it more difficult for you to bring your mind to Krishna, we reject it. If there's something that's making it easier to bring the mind to Krishna, we accept it. And
There's always going to be
that's the
details.
basic principle. Yeah,
There's always
detail,
going
how
to be
we apply it.
details.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be principles. And so
Yeah.
we just lean into the principles.
Yeah. Okay.
Good question.
You know, if she would have said, I really love this because I feel like some pranic thing going on in me, or I really love, you know, she could have given, no. Japa is about bringing your mind to that name, and concentration, prayer will naturally well up. That's why we do it. We don't do it for other, you know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah. For example,
Then I would have been like,
I
no.
was saying I like the way I do it because it helps me breathe. That could be true. But if it helps you breathe at the cost of hearing the holy name, then you miss the point.
That's right. So the point to the activity is to bring the mind to the mantra, absorb it deeply in the mantra. And if that's why you're doing it, and if it's helping you do that, then accept it.
That being said, Mara bought some tape
Tape?
to put on my mouth while I sleep.
I didn't buy it. Our friend Nitai down in Australia.
For sleep apnea?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that working?
I haven't tried it yet. I'm scared it's going to rip my mustache
He's
off.
gonna, yeah, say, when you got a beard and mustache like that, it might be pretty harsh.
Just put a pink rubber ball in my mouth. Bite
And
down
then just
on this, Raghu.
wrap a what do they call it? Like a
Bandana.
Yeah.
All right. This is from Into the Gates. I love how in Discord everyone's got some crazy
Into the Gates.
heavy metal name. This is my heavy metal name, Into the Gates. This is from the Discord thread. I was just reading the Bhagavad Gita 434. Famous verse, Mara. Do you know it? And it talks about learning through a spiritual master by rendering service so you can gain knowledge and advance in your spiritual life.
Do we have a little Karuna here to this morning?
I don't know. We have some. We don't have it on speaker view, or we have it on speaker view. We don't have it on. And we got Karuna's mom.
Karuna,
Back to the
probably.
question.
I
Back
bet she
to the
knows that
question.
one. All right.
Keep going. Oh, sorry.
Bhagavad Gita 434. Why don't you quote it, Rona?
Tad vidhi panipatena pariprashnena sevaya uparekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshina.
Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, acquire from them submissively, and render service unto them. Such realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. More or less, that's what it is, right? Okay.
Of course, I've read. I'm sure this has been asked 1,000 times, but how does one go about this, right?
Yeah.
When the nearest temple to offer service is almost 2 hours away. Is there a way to do that from afar? Of course, I've read and I'm continuing to read Srila Prabhupada's books and consider him my spiritual master as he has guided me thus far. But how would I render service? The way I read and interpret that verse is physically present spiritual master. Maybe not. Well, there is some substantiality about, rendering service to a person present. But
You guys can hear that?
yeah,
They're doing some repairs on my roof.
mute yourself and then unmute yourself. So yeah, we can either serve personally or we can serve at a distance. Serving at a distance is also here practicing bhakti, hearing and chanting. Reading the Srimad Bhagavatam is also serving the guru. Chanting your japa is also serving the guru. And following the practice of bhakti, we're becoming genuinely humble. We're thinking about serving others more than ourselves. And then we create a vessel where even mystically, even though the gurus may not be physically present with us, mystically we're getting information put into our hearts through the readings, through the purports, and you'll find yourself advancing. It's nice to serve the devotees. Devotees don't like to be alone because they want to serve other devotees. So if you have other devotees around you, you can render service to them. And in serving devotees, that is also serving the guru as well. And of course, if you have something's happening over there, Kastuba. But if you have that senior devotees in your life, also people are your instructors, render service to them. That's also serving guru, because your instructors, maybe they don't give you your initiation, but they've given you bhakti, and therefore to render service to them is like the greatest thing we can offer. Kastuba, you want to embellish on that?
I can try. It's going on right above my head. You know, it's an important question. Yeah, it has been asked many times because it's a reality. And I'll tell you something, Raghunath. This makes me. I have a message for the International Society for Krishna Consciousness.
What? Oh yeah, Kastuba's going to give a message.
Um,
To
we have all kind of ideas that are based on like a model that existed 40 years ago, and that was like everybody comes to bhakti through these temples.
Right.
It's not like that anymore, you know. And so like a lot of the guidance and the guidelines and so on, they have to do with temples. Like, you know, if you're going to be initiated by a guru, you need to get permission from the temple president. Well, I never even go to any
Went to a
temple. I don't
temple,
even
right.
know
I
any
know.
temple president.
know.
You know, it's like bhakti does not just spread through these embassies that are in certain cities or college towns, you know,
Right.
dotted throughout the country. So people are going to find bhakti online. They're going to find it by bumping into someone. They're going to find it by picking up a book. And they're not going to be around a temple, or they may even be around a place where there is a temple and not feel the sense of communion, you know, that they're looking for there.
And we get that message sometimes too. Like, I like practicing bhakti, I just don't jive with the temple that's
Yeah.
near me.
Yeah. So that's a reality. And therefore we need to find ways to, again, bring in the principles, right? Find what's needed. A very important aspect of bhakti practice is connection with the guru, hearing from the guru, serving the guru.
I'm ready to see some guy fall through your ceiling holding a sawzall.
I know,
Just
that's boom.
Da-dum.
So here's a very sincere person, and it's like being at the dentist.
Oh God, I hope not. Quick. It's quiet. You're muted.
I know, because it's really loud right now.
Oh, okay. Anyway, these are sanguine points, Kastuba. Okay.
I can try. So we have to find a way to facilitate this person's practice, right? And one way is going to be online, but you know, this connection between the guru and the disciple, it's what it is we're saying that Krishna himself comes through, right? Through the guru to the disciple. His message, how to connect with God, comes through. It comes through many different channels. And any of those channels is considered guru, right? When you're able to connect and get divya jnana, get transcendental understanding, transcendental knowledge. Even inanimate objects technically are referred to as guru within the sacred texts if someone has the ability to receive transcendental knowledge through it, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's super important. It is the way that we receive transcendental knowledge. It is the way that we connect with Krishna. And when the disciple, when the seeker really wants it, then Krishna finds a way. And that way,
just keep going.
Sorry, man.
That's okay. All right.
Maybe I can try. Maybe you can continue what I was saying, because maybe catch on.
I don't know if I can.
Maybe not. I was saying that can I talk like this? Is it really so bad?
Just go. Just do it. We have no other option.
Okay. So no matter what obstacles are in the way, if the seeker really wants it, Krishna will send it. But you have to be open. You may be receiving it online. That may be the way that you most substantially get it. But also be willing to travel for it. Be willing to seek it out. You know, if you find that there are people online that whose message really is changing your life, then you can seek them out in person too. You know, you can find out where they're based and spend time with them. Come and say, you know, express to them in the mood that a disciple speaks to Guru. Your words have touched my heart. You know, they're inspiring me in bhakti. They're helping me understand who I am and what this life is meant for. Can I come and learn from you and serve you? You know, I could, you know, I have a job and a full time, but is there an opportunity where I could take time off and come and meet you in person? Reach out like that. Don't be shy to, you know.
Another
I
great
think it's
way if you're
yeah.
you're isolated, so you can mute right now because I'll talk.
Okay, sorry.
Another great way if you're isolated is, and I've told people this too who have been really enthusiastic about Krishna consciousness but don't jive with the local temple, is become the temple. Make your home the temple. Invite people that you think are interested in bhakti. Invite your friends over and read with them. Come have them make your home the temple. And don't use an excuse, well, these devotees, I don't get along with them, or okay, fine, make your own temple.
And then you can invite these people to come. Like you can say, hey, you know, we got 10 people that gather every Saturday night. Could you come? And
well, if there's someone there that inspires you, maybe the whole temple doesn't inspire, but one person does.
No. I'm saying that person may be in some other part of the world.
Right.
And if you say every Saturday night we bring 10 people together and we're very inspired by you, would you please come? We'll pay for your transportation. Now
I was saying if they're not inspired by the local temple, then just make your own temple. You come
no,
together.
I'm speaking exactly to that. I'm saying.
Anyway, that's the point. And I've seen people bail also, be like, well, I don't jive with the temple. And then they just drift away and do their own thing. You know, if you've got problems with an institution, guess what? Don't complain about it. Make it better. And you can make it better yourself. And of course, as soon as you start taking that responsibility, you'll find like, wow, this is harder than I thought. And you'll stop complaining even more because you realize you're actually carrying a globe over your head. So it's important. And nowadays, if you want to improve something, just do it. It's really easy to do it yourself. And that way it gets rid of the complaining, and then you can make it better. And sometimes things need a little refreshing. All right. That is all.
I was trying to say, to your point, Raghunath,
Yeah.
is that they may not connect with the temple, but they may connect with an individual that's distant.
Sure.
So if you do exactly what you're saying, kind of create your own little scene where you have a mood that those people can relate to, then that can be a way to draw that person to come visit you, and you have the chance to meet them personally and serve them. That for someone that really makes it their life to teach bhakti, and if you reach out to them and say, you inspire me, and there's a group of us, and they see that you are actually reaching out and creating a scene, it's a great impetus for that person. They'll say, I'll come.
Show up somehow.
Yeah.
All right. I think we should stop the show right now. Even though there's a little bit more time, I just think this is annoying, the sound.
It's really brutal.
It's really brutal. But we'll see everybody Monday. And I want to thank everybody for joining us. Thanks everybody for writing in. Write in. Please write in. We like it. We like getting questions. wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. And thanks everybody joining us on Facebook on the weekends. Thanks everybody joined over from Rich Roll and from Tinfoil Hat. And spread the word. If you like what we're doing, spread the word. The easiest thing you can do to render service is go to our YouTube channel, and you can subscribe, and you can like, you can comment, and you can share. Also, we have a Wisdom of the Sages Instagram. Make sure you follow that. And if you got someone sitting on the edge of their spiritual life or going through some personal hell, maybe this is the show for them. Find an episode that inspires you and share it with someone. We love doing what we're doing, and I want to really thank this community that supports us. If you want to support us, it's Wisdom of the Sage. It's patreon.com/Wisdom of the Sages. means a lot to us. We couldn't do it without all of your support. And thanks. We've got a really special community. And we're going to have a retreat up here at the Super Soul Farm. If you're interested, again, go to wisdomofthesages.com/events, and we will hang all together on Memorial Day weekend. Stu, myself, Mara, and some of your other luminaries that you see on Zoom or hear us talking about. Sometimes they show up and you get to meet people like Linda, Carla, the coach, the bright light. All these people started to just show up. Is bright light coming? I don't know. Bright light. Can we still call her the bright light even though it's she's initiated now? She's still a bright light.